Alex Jones here with Joe Biggs reporting from Infowars.com in Austin, Texas, with the latest developments concerning the tragic shooting that has already shot at least 4 Marines dead, active duty dead. Now, we've been warning about this for a long time, and as we're shooting live, they just announced the purported identity of the main suspect, the lone gunman. And we're going to be going over that. Mohammed Yosef, how do you pronounce that? Abdulaziz? Joe Biggs is here. This just came in literally 60 seconds ago. We were going to shoot a news update and look at who we think from 3 or 4 groups it could possibly be. Mentally ill sympathizers of ISIS, an ISIS operative that infiltrated through the porous border, or would it be a false flag where they set up some patriot in a drill and attack a military base and claim that it was some type of anti-Jade Helm person? Because they were in the New York Times today quoting me without showing a link that I said it was about exterminating militias. I mean, I challenge you to show me where I said that. $1,000 prize. So you see stuff like that, it's scary. But the fourth is some good old boy or some well-meaning but mentally ill hippie or hillbilly or whoever, could be a leftist or could be a right-winger, could see a bunch of troops, get freaked out, think it's an invasion, because the media keeps saying, I said that, and others said that, and Ted Cruz said that, and Governor Abbott said that, and Chuck Norris said that. None of us said that, and then they shoot him. So I said, we were sitting here minutes ago, because the press conference is ending right now. Yeah. Mentally ill follower of ISIS, actual ISIS, false flag blaming patriots, or it could be someone who flipped out, who was mentally ill or whatever, just on their own because of all the Jade Helm hype. Then we get blamed. And I've said that in a whole bunch of newscasts since then. There are forces in the government that want gun confiscation, that want total dictatorial control. It's now happening. They're doing some of the biggest exercises ever. And it lists Texas as hostile in other areas. They're clearly getting ready for false flags. I don't know what's going to happen this summer. All I know is we have to investigate all of this, and we have to get a debate going about the fact that we're pretty much a dictatorship now. Even mainline constitutional scholars on both sides say that. But to go over more of this is former Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army, Joe Biggs. I mean, to me, there's 4 things here. Who would they blame? Now they're politically correct, kind of burying this because it doesn't fit their narrative. Also, they're declaring it domestic terrorism right away when they were first announcing it was a white guy. Yeah. Now they may back off that. We have 22 suicides a day of former and current U.S. military personnel. That's the real crisis, is how bad they're being treated and the treatment they're not getting for serious illnesses like you have from combat wounds. And then the point you made, the bullet holes going into the Marine recruitment site, there's the no firearms executive order of Obama, who he continued from Clinton. So, Joe, let's go over some of those facets.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things is the fact that as a service member, when you're not in combat, you're not allowed to protect yourself. You know, if you have weapons, you have to turn them into the armory on base. And this is a sad thing because it's a gun-free zone. ISIS looks for soft targets. A recruiting station is very much a soft target because these guys are not able to defend themselves whatsoever, but they will trust you to go into combat, die for your country, and they'll trust these people to pluck, American lives out to enlist in the military and then go sacrifice their lives or end up with these, hidden wounds for the rest of their lives. So that's just an interesting thing. The fact that you will not let them arm themselves and be able to protect themselves from an act like this. And this is what we keep seeing from time and time again. ISIS is attacking these soft targets. Every time we have these gun-free zones, this is where they're going to be looking for.
A convention center in
Garland
outside Dallas, other facilities. They attack shopping malls in Kenya. And even the head of Interpol says the answer is arming the general public.
They're saying that the shooting suspect has been identified as Mohammed Yosef Abdulaziz. Now, earlier the reports were saying that it was a white male. So now they are saying it is this gentleman right here who had opened up fire and shot. And, we've got people like Donald Trump. We've got people like Ted Cruz saying that we need to stop making these places gun-free zones. And as you can see the picture up on the screen right here, at the recruiting center, it shows no guns allowed. This is a gun-free zone. This is what a soft target looks like.
How do you expect a military hated by so many other countries to sit there as sitting ducks off base and not be armed?
Well, this is an attack on our military, not just in a physical aspect, but mentally as well. Because here you are, we're supposed to look like the hardest military in the world. And meanwhile, we're wearing red heels, we're marching around, we're prancing around. If you get on Twitter and you find some of these pro-ISIS accounts, they laugh at the U.S. military. 10 years ago.
This is meant to demoralize us and make us look bad worldwide. This is how, if I wanted to overthrow the country, how I would do it. And now they're going to put transgender in the military. And again, I'm not attacking transgender people, but give me a break. The military is not a place for guys to wear dresses.
I mean, vice versa.
Want to do that? Go, hang out in New York City or wherever. Don't, frontline combat with a cherry shirt, with a skirt with cherries on it.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to alter the uniform to fit these people and so they feel good or they feel comfortable around there? I mean, and it messes with the psyche too of the soldier itself. When you're in barracks, how is that going to happen? So you've got a lady who wants to be a guy, so now they're able to live in there. That screws with people's psyche.
It screws with little kids that now boys are in the girls' bathroom, and when the girls don't like it, they're thrown out of the school. But segueing back into the big issue here at hand, 4 people are dead, others are wounded. As we shoot this, the guy's disappeared into the woods, and all this stuff's going on. We've seen false flags before, and I don't know if this is a false flag, but regardless, it's a kind of massive false flag in that our own government has let ISIS and al-Qaeda be funded from Benghazi, take over Libya, take over areas of Syria, reconstitute. They were supposedly defeated because this is the new al-Qaeda group. It's the same leadership. But now it's back bigger than ever, and the answer is give more of our freedoms up, and then now soft targets are being attacked. I don't know how Obama, who's clearly been involved resurrecting the Muslim Brotherhood and these other organizations connected to ISIS, I don't know how they're going to get away with them attacking soft targets and them not getting the blame, Joe.
Well, we're cutting our military forces down. We look weak worldwide, whereas just years ago, we looked like some of the most hardcore Rambo people out there. And we are a soft target as a whole. It seems like our government wants America to look like a soft target. They want to encourage more attacks on U.S. soil so they can militarize the police and
turn it around on the Tea Party and veterans, as they admit the main move by Northcom domestically is. Then we come out and say, hey, we're worried about Jade Helm being a further erosion of sovereignty locally. We don't think it's an imminent takeover. So they spin it to say, we believe it's an imminent takeover.
Yeah. And I guarantee you in the future, coming up the next few months, any kind of attacks that happen by, young white males in their 20s, 30s, it's going to somehow be connected to demonize this entire Jade Helm thing, where they're going to use it to attack us, to say that, oh, well, they sparked all this paranoia. These are the guys that they're kind of, they're coming out of the.
Oh, you can see it. They've written the script.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. And I can tell you over the next few months, the attacks are going to happen. It's just going to go out of control.
I forgot. I covered on the radio today. They had an article out saying Alex Jones hates the Marines and says they're the enemy. And it was somebody else at a Toys for Tots deal who didn't even say that. And then they say that's me in a voiceover, and it's not even us.
But you've got to look at this, though.
And they have the New York Times saying, here it is. New York Times, Jade Helm 15 exercise begun in Texas. Keep watch. And it says, a report from InfoWars, an Alex Jones operated website, says that it's a plan to eradicate local militants and that it's an imminent takeover. We never said that. But they don't even put a link here. See the assassination of our character?
Meanwhile, when we say stuff, we put links up. When we did all the article that you and Paul Joseph Watson put out, where you put all the different documents talking about everything the government said leading up to this old Jade Helm, we put the links so we can back up what it is we're doing. These guys just throw out random sentences and expect people to run along with it.
They still may change the story again, but clearly I think this is leaning towards someone hearing this worldwide directive from ISIS, start attacking soft targets, attack U.S. military bases, and now it's begun. And the answer is what the head of Interpol said. It's time to arm the people, not just the military. It's time to deal with these folks like we saw in Dallas. It's time to stand up against folks that are coming after soft targets. That's the takeaway, that at the end of the day, the people aiding and abetting these cowardly killers are the folks that advertise gun-free zones as shooting spree areas.
Yeah, exactly.
Other points.
Well, I mean, I think it was pretty interesting, too. They said within a few minutes of the shooting that the buildings were already surrounded by police as it happened, kind of like in Waco. When the shooting first started, a couple shots were fired. There were already police running and jumping in there in that. So
because it was a stakeout.
Yeah. So I think that's a little weird because that's kind of in the middle of nowhere to have police already just by, that many coming in and already rushing in. Anytime I've called 911 and I've needed them, it takes quite some time.
They might have known and gotten a tip like in Dallas. The FBI wasn't allowed to go after him. They'd actually brought him in or both the guys. And then they leaked it to the cops, look out. And so they had an off-duty cop there and others.
Yeah,
so that could have been it as well, that they knew something was about to happen, but they weren't sure.
Yeah, that's possible.
I mean, we just don't know. That's the problem. A government caught running fast and furious. A government caught funding the Muslim Brotherhood and radical Islamic groups. Who knows what they're going to do? But Joe, with a worldwide call for jihad and the fact that, we see polls at 20-something% of Brits like ISIS, something like 10% of Americans say they like it. Who knows what we're going to see?
What I think is interesting, what you were saying earlier, how they were attacking you about saying you hate Marines. Our fan base is largely military. We have a large military fan
That's
base.
why they're doing it.
But they'll never talk about that. The fact that we have like our sponsors, Head Down, they're military. They came to us. They
know the military listens to us because we know what we're talking about and we're patriots. That's why they're telling the military we hate them.
I mean, obviously we don't. I mean, I'm a former soldier. I don't hate myself and I don't hate my brothers who are still in.
Well, they misquote me here in the New York Times and they don't even show where I said it. And then they have a new video out saying that I'm saying I hate Marines and it's not even me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bald-headed guy and he's not even saying that.
It's ridiculous. And I mean, also, at the same time, we lost 4 Marines today. My heart goes out to those Marines, their families. I mean, this is ridiculous, especially if somebody knew about this in advance and didn't stop it from happening. I mean, shame on them. I mean, that's ridiculous. And shame on our government for not allowing our service members to be armed, to be able to protect themselves, especially when you're off base like that. In an area like that, you're out in the middle of nowhere. You've got nothing. I mean,
you know who's allowed to be armed? UN diplomats and their security. UN people can have guns at the UN building and other facilities, but we can't have guns.
It's just heartbreaking when something like this happens. I mean,
you're absolutely right. Well, recapping, it looks like it's some type of ISIS-affiliated attack. Again, it may be a mentally ill person affiliated with ISIS. Remember, just last week, the son of a Boston police captain was arrested as possible terrorist. When his father turned him in, he reportedly was basically schizophrenic. He used the name Abu Ali al-Amariki, and they said he was a recent convert to Islam, and that he was just basically a babbling, basket case, and he had a bunch of guns and was planning an attack, and his dad had to basically turn him in over all this. I tend to think it's probably a mentally ill person, but it might actually be a real ISIS operative.
Yeah, I mean, and then time and time again, we've seen the FBI set these people up and give them kind of the encouragement, these undercover guys, to push them to go over that limit to actually do it, and then they throw them in jail,
Well, we'll see what happens with all of this by the nightly news tonight, 7 o'clock Central, prisonplanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. But again, thank you so much, Joe Biggs, for all your great reporting on the rest of the crew. And we'll be back tomorrow on the syndicated radio broadcast for the Friday transmission, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Until then, we'll see you at InfoWars.com. Never forget, if you're watching this transmission, you are the resistance.
To celebrate the birth of our country and give a big thanks to all the info warriors out there, we are now offering free shipping on every item shipped out of the InfoWarsStore.com warehouse. That's free shipping on all t-shirts, books, and DVDs. Free shipping on Molon Labe and 1776 belt buckles, which are also 25% off while supplies last. Free shipping on all of our InfoWarsLife.com nutraceuticals. If it's in the InfoWarsStore.com warehouse, it's shipping for free, all during the month of July. It's our way of saying thanks to the true heart and soul of this operation, who stand beside us and support us as we wage an info war for liberty and freedom for all. InfoWarsStore.com. Free shipping for the month of July.